I'm sharing my screen. So with those videos which I've uploaded, Huygens principle is over. So next part of the chapter that is there is principle of superposition of waves. Okay, there is the second part of the chapter. Actually, there are three important concepts. One is the first is about Huygens construction and applying it to find the laws of reflection and refraction. Next is principle of superposition of waves, which will lead us to the concept of interference. What is interference? We will see in some time. So first, let's understand what this principle of superposition of waves is. You would have heard this term already, right? So what do you mean by superposition of waves? What do you mean by superposition of waves? Nobody knows.
The displacements of individual waves can be added to find the displacement of the overall wave.
Exactly. So that's right. So we have heard this word principle of superposition already, right? We saw it in the first chapter also, principle of superposition of forces, right? So principle of superposition itself comes, it is nothing but the vector sum of whichever parameter you're trying to speak about. So if at all you have two or more waves that are traveling in a medium, okay, you have two or more waves. In this context, it is wave of light, okay. In general, I'm saying if it is two or more waves which are traveling the same medium, superposed upon each other, means if they get added upon with each other, then the resultant displacement at any instant is equal to the vector sum of the displacements due to the individual waves. So the meaning of it is, suppose there are two waves which have their instantaneous displacements given by y1 and y2. They are traveling the same medium. Okay. So it is like this. I'll show you. Suppose there is one wave like this, and there is another wave like this. So its displacement, let it be y as a function of y1 as a function of time t. Let this be y2 as a function of t. Okay. If these two waves are mixed with respect to each other, okay, mixed with each other, okay, then there will be a resultant, right? If suppose the resultant wave is looking something like this, if I call the resultant wave's displacement as y, then according to the principle of superposition, y is equal to y1 vector plus y2 vector, where y is also a vector. So this is the mathematical expression for principle of superposition. Let's revisit the statement again. It says, if two or more waves of light in a medium superpose upon each other, then the resultant displacement at any instant is equal to the vector sum of the displacements due to the individual waves at that instant. That is the meaning. Are you clear with this? So when you put it, y vector will be equal to y1 vector plus y2 vector plus so on. It keeps on going depending on the number of waves you take into consideration. But in general, for us to understand the concept of interference, we need only two waves. Okay. So one more point I would like to mention here is, suppose you have two waves, like one wave is in this way. Okay. You have y1 and y2, which both of which are function of time t. Okay. So what is that you are able to understand from both the waves? If suppose I give the expression to this wave as y1 is equal to a sine of, if I call it as a plane progressive wave, it is y1 is equal to a sine omega t of kx, y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx. Okay, what is that you're able to understand from both? So one thing that is clear is their amplitudes are different. A1 is different from A2. So these two waves were, if the maximum of both the waves are reached at the same time, minimum are reached at the same time. Similarly, if their phases are the same, okay, at any instant, then these two waves are said to be in phase. Okay, so when there are two waves where both are reaching maximum simultaneously and both are reaching minimum simultaneously, then we can say that they both are in same phase. Okay, so why I mentioned this point is, if suppose in this condition you have y is equal to y1 plus y2, okay, if at all you have y is equal to y1 plus y2, what is the meaning of this? Means these two waves are getting superposed on each other. In this scenario, what will happen is you will have something called as constructive interference. Okay, this interference word we have not yet seen. I will explain it later. So you are going to have constructive interference. So constructive means they get added. Am I clear? Provided the waves are in phase. Similarly, if you take two waves like this, if you observe, no, when one is reaching maximum, the other is reaching minimum. So they have a phase difference of 180 degrees. So when the phase difference between two waves is 180 degrees, these two waves are said to be out of phase. Meaning, when two waves which are out of phase superpose on each other, okay, when two waves which are out of phase superpose on each other, we have something called as destructive interference. Okay. So am I clear till this point? Is it clear? Did you guys understand what is in phase and out of phase? So in phase means phase difference is 0 degrees. Out of phase means it is 180 degrees or pi radians. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what exactly does constructive and destructive interference mean here is, so when you talk about constructive interference with respect to light, that is, if say you have two lights which are traveling in the same direction, if those two rays, if the two light rays superpose with each other constructively, then at that location you will have a bright spot. So the meaning of bright spot is you can see more light. If suppose these two waves represent light, this is one light wave, this is another light wave. If these two light waves mix with each other, then whichever location these two waves are in phase, those locations will have more amount of brightness. Okay. Similarly, if this is a light wave and this is a light wave, if these two light waves interfere with each other, that is superposed upon each other, then you will have destructive interference. The meaning of destructive interference means it is a dark spot. Dark in the sense there will be no light. Are you guys able to understand this? That is the meaning of constructive and destructive. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
could you repeat once again?
Which point?
The bright phase, what in dark phase?
See, in phase means they will be having a phase difference of 0 degrees. I hope that is clear. So when two waves which are getting superposed with each other have 0 phase difference, then when those two light rays are getting mixed with each other, then there will be an output light wave, right? The output light wave will have more amount of brightness. Means this is light itself means brightness. This has some brightness. This has some brightness, right? So when this bright wave and this bright wave which are in phase mix with each other, you will have more amount of brightness. Okay. Similarly, when you talk, that is the meaning of constructive. Constructive means something productive is happening. Whereas when you have two light waves which are out of phase, which have a phase difference of 180 degrees, then you have destructive interference. Destructive means something negative is happening. Okay, so this will have some brightness, this will also have some brightness, but their amplitudes are such a, see, let me explain this point. Have you guys heard the word called as intensity?
Yes, sir.
Right. So intensity we have seen at many places: electric field intensity, gravitational field intensity. Generally, if you talk about sound, sound has some intensity. If you talk about light, light has some intensity. Okay. So the general meaning of intensity is the amount of power radiated per unit area. This word is very important in the next chapter. Okay. So intensity means the amount of power radiated per unit area. If that power is related to sound, okay. See, I'll give a simple example. I am speaking. Okay, there is some amount of intensity that my voice is producing. If someone else is also speaking and both the sound waves are traveling the same direction, what do you think will happen? Will the sound be more loud or is it going to be feeble?
So more loud.
So logically,
More louder.
it will be more. So that loudness is what is called as intensity of sound. So we generally say it is going to be more loud. If you speak in terms of physics, we'll say that the intensity of sound is more. Okay. And one more important point to be observed is intensity is directly proportional to the square of the amplitude. There is a mathematical relation. Please make a note of all these points. Write down. Intensity is the amount of power radiated per unit area. Write it down. Intensity is the amount of power radiated per unit area. Okay. So what will be the SI unit for it?
Watt per meter square.
Yes, SI unit is watt per meter square. Watt per meter square. Okay. And write down the next definition. The next point. Intensity is directly proportional to amplitude square. Why I am using this is because when you write the displacement of a wave, you write it as A sin omega t, where A represents amplitude. That is what is going to decide whether it is constructive or destructive interference. Okay. So for you guys to visualize, I'll just show you a small demonstration. See. Again, the same torch we have. Okay. So you're able to see some light, right? You're able to see some light. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm making this light fall on my hand. Are you able to see it bright or dark? Just a minute, I'll switch off the other light. You're able to see on my hand, right? Is it bright or dark?
Right.
So it is bright, no? So this area, on this area, there is power radiated from this. So if I calculate the power that is falling on this divided with this area, that will tell me the intensity of light that is falling on the screen. Okay. So I bring it close. Is the brightness increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
So when I bring it close, it is increasing. You are able to see it is increasing for a lesser area. Means for lesser area, more amount of light is falling, then we can say intensity is more. If I try to move it away, maybe it is bright, but what is happening? It is getting spread on more amount of area. It means the light is getting scattered. Right? You are able to visualize what intensity means. Right? So whenever you have a spot which has more amount of light, at that place what would have happened is constructive interference would have happened. But here it is only one light. Okay, if suppose there is one light, you're able to see another light. I'm not sure because the cell is weak.
No, sir.
You're able to see it.
Light,
Yes.
please, sir.
Yes, sir.
There's a little bit of light. This little powerful. See, if suppose there's one source. Okay, from here, what is happening? Wavefronts are coming. This is the screen here. Wavefronts will be coming like this on the screen. Similarly, if I keep it like this, if I keep this light also on my screen, if I try to focus it on my hand, had it been powerful, okay, unfortunately I don't have a powerful one. So had it been powerful, what do you think would have happened on my hand?
Brightness would
The
have
brightness will increase.
The brightness would have been more, right? But what will happen now is so that is happening because of superposition of waves. They're undergoing constructive interference. You're able to understand this point. Similarly, we can actually create a situation which I cannot show it now. We can actually create a situation where when you keep a screen here, you can have a continuous system of bright, dark, bright, dark. This kind of pattern can be formed on the screen. Means now what is happening when I focus the light, it is completely bright. There is no dark spot that you're able to see, right? But if I'm able to break this light into multiple parts and send it, maybe I can take a cardboard, if I put a small hole there, because what is this chapter all about? I told you in the beginning itself, wave optics, what do we deal with? Light will be interacting with size, the object size, which are comparable to the wavelength of light. Means, let's say I take a cardboard, I put a very small hole, I take a safety pin and put a hole. If through that this light is being passed, I can actually observe a pattern on my screen, pattern on my hand. The pattern will be in such a way that there will be a bright spot, dark spot, bright spot, dark spot. Okay, that is happening because of a phenomenon called as interference of light. Okay, but tell me one thing: are you guys able to visualize what intensity is actually? So next time when I use intensity, you will not get confused, right?
No, sir.
So if I say intensity is more, indirectly I'm trying to say brightness is more. If I say intensity of light, is more, indirectly I'm trying to say that the brightness at that spot is more. So if brightness is more, amplitude is more. So all these three parameters are related to each other. Okay, depending on the context you will be using. So in this chapter, we'll be using the word intensity and amplitude. So have that point in your mind. How are they both related? Intensity is directly proportional to square of the amplitude. Right? So it is clear, right? Now we are going to see a derivation. I want you to be very careful. Now observe. So, see, listen. Now whatever I explained is only principle of superposition. So for principle of superposition to happen, minimum sources required are how many?
2.
2 sources, 2 or more. Okay. So observe. We had been telling one phenomenon, right? There are certain phenomenon which can be proved using only wave theory of light. Out of that, one of the phenomenon is called as interference. Okay. So imagine this as the torchlight which I showed you. The white light. Okay. Generally, we don't use white light because it consists of 7 colors. We'll use a monochromatic light. I hope you would have heard this word monochromatic. So mono means one. This chromatic relates to wavelength. So if there is a light which is having only one wavelength associated with it, that kind of a light is called as monochromatic source. Okay. So if there is any point that is confusing, please stop me. Or else I'll assume that you're clear and I'll proceed. Now listen. So this is the torch which I told you, right? So this box is a cardboard with a small hole. Right? Till here you are able to visualize. Right?
Yes, sir.
So from the torchlight, what will happen is wavefronts will go. What kind of wavefronts will go from the torchlight which I showed you? If it is a point, if you treat it like a point source. The other day we discussed spherical wavefronts. Yes, no, spherical. Spherical wavefronts go. When the spherical wavefronts hit this opening, again from here it will start acting like a source and few more spherical wavefronts will go. Am I clear? Right. Why we are doing, I'll explain it to you. But let's try to understand first what interference is, what is that phenomenon, and how is it going to look like. Okay. Then what is happening? We have created two more holes. These two holes are called as slits. Slits means small opening, right? So, see, observe. I'm going to put certain questions. Answer that. So, how many sources are used?
One.
How many? You have only one light source. So that one light source, when it started generating the spherical wavefront, you passed it through the first slit, the first hole. Then what happened? The wavefronts were going again. No change has occurred, right? The wavefronts are still in the same pattern. Now, what did you do to these two wavefronts is, you virtually created two slits on the cardboard or your paper, whatever it is, of a pin size. Okay, you have a safety pin, right? You just poke and take it out. Imagine that is the size of the hole. It should be that small for all these things to be observed. Okay, when that happens, this last wavefront, see, I'm using a red color. Please observe that clearly. The last wavefront is there, no? Do you think this wavefront will still be able to continue like this?
No, sir.
No. Rather, what would happen?
Two separate
The,
wavelengths will be formed.
the red wavefront, it is further get split into two wavefronts. One like this and one like this. Are you guys able to visualize this? So with increasing radius, sorry. So imagine them like ripples of water. Okay, that is, you have a still water. If you drop one stone, what will happen? Ripples will start forming, right? You will have ripples like this. Now, instead of having one stone, let's say I give you two sticks in your hand with a small stone at its end. Okay, think of it like a okay, imagine a stick is given to you with a small stone at its end. You hold each of them in your hand, each of them in each hand, and when you keep hitting both the sticks here at the same time, what do you think will happen?
Two ripples will be formed.
So you will have ripples here, you will have ripples here. Are you able to understand this? So if you observe this, no, if I zoom and show it, what exactly is happening? See, these two ripples are meeting at some points, and there are certain spots where they are not meeting at all. Where they are not meeting, I'm using blue color. See, there's a spot where they didn't meet at all. Are you guys able to understand this? A
Yes,
very, very
sir.
Yes,
important
sir.
point. I can only show it like this. Okay. So they are meeting on real time. There are certain spots where they are not meeting at all. So if at all I place a paper here, okay, if at all I place a paper here, then what will happen is these ripples will increase in their radius. They are going to increase in this radius. They are going to go like this. And when this spot goes and hits the paper, that spot will become wet. Okay. And there will be certain spots where the paper will not be wet. Imagine that kind of a pattern is going to happen. Then can I say, you will have a wet spot, you will have a dry spot, you will have a wet spot, you will have a dry spot. Are you guys able to visualize this? You're able to understand. So where will you have the wet spot? You will have the wet spot whenever those two ripples are meeting. Right? So if those two parts which are meeting is going and falling on the screen, falling on the paper, you will have a wet spot. There are certain spots where they are not meeting. When they are not meeting, you are going to have a dry spot. Okay. So this is all with respect to water because we can see it clearly, and you people have a clear vision of what is going to happen. Now, take the same concept and replace this paper with a black screen, like how I showed, which is there at my back. So you would have seen a black screen, right? So let's say you have a black screen. Okay. Then this from the single source, what did you do? You broke the wavefront into two wavefronts, right? So you had only one wavefront. Now I'm using a blue color. See, you had only one wavefront, which is split into two wavefronts by making small pin-sized holes. right? Due to which you are able to break it into two wavefronts such that there are certain spots where they are meeting, there are certain spots which are not meeting, right? So here, if you observe, this there. Similarly, you have a spot like this there, and see, it is very light. You are able to see the spot, guys. You're able to
Yes,
see a
sir.
line. Means if you take these lines and you join them, okay, if you join them and take it to the screen, at that spot you will have a bright fringe. It is similar to what I told with respect to wetness. So wet means bright, dry means dark. Are you guys able to visualize? So I drew a line, this is happening, and you're able to have a bright spot, and you can observe this. This is a real-time phenomenon. It's not like it is not going to happen. This will happen. And this is observed as well. Okay? And this kind of a phenomenon is what is called as interference of light. And what is the underlying principle of this to happen? The underlying principle is superposition of waves. Am I clear, guys?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So I hope you are able to visualize the phenomenon. So for interference of light to take place, how many sources are needed actually?
One.
One, sir.
But I told you underlying principle is superposition, right? So for
Oh,
you
two.
need two. But here, if you observe, what did we do actually? We actually have only one source according to the diagram, but we split it into
Created
two
two.
by making two holes on the cardboard, right? So for interference to be observed, the minimum number of waves that you need are two. Similarly, the next concept that we are going to learn is diffraction. For diffraction to be observed, you need only one. Okay, that we will see at that point. As of now, am I clear? So based on
Yes.
this, I'm going to introduce okay, concentrate. I'm going to introduce certain terms. Listen to it carefully. If there is any doubt, please ask. So listen, please make a note of this, okay? When there are two waves there are certain conditions to be satisfied, guys, okay? It is not like you can randomly observe this kind of a pattern. You cannot. With white light, you cannot observe this clear pattern because it is made up of many colors. Okay. When two waves of same frequency, nearly same amplitude, and constant initial phase difference travel in the same direction along the same straight line, they superpose in such a way that the region of superposition, the intensity is maximum. Means what? Intensity is maximum.
Brightness.
It is bright spot. So the intensity is maximum at some points and minimum at some points. That's what is happening. Maximum, minimum. Sorry. I cannot write it. Minimum. Okay. So if this kind of a phenomenon happens, that is what we call it as interference. Now the question is, for this interference to take place, one thing is clear, that it is happening because of the superposition of waves. That point is clear. But what kind of waves are supposed to be used for the superposition so that you observe a clear pattern of it? The first few statements tell you that you need to have two waves of same frequency, nearly same amplitude, and constant initial phase difference. Is it clear? So, if at all you have two sources which follow all these conditions, those kind of sources are called as coherent sources. It's a very, very, very important point. Please make a note of it. Please make. Okay. So the sources having the same frequency and constant initial phase difference are called as coherent sources. And the phenomenon of interference is based on the law of conservation of energy. Maybe this can be a one-mark question. It is based on the law of conservation of energy because the intensity of the light is redistributed. It is not lost. It is redistributed, meaning initially, let's say this light had intensity I1, this light also had intensity I1. So I1 plus I1 is going to give you 2I1. So there are two operations that are possible mathematically. You can add them or subtract them. When you subtract, it is going to be 0. So if the intensity is going to get added, you're going to get a spot like this. If the intensity is going to get subtracted, you will get a spot, you will get a dark spot. Okay. But here, if you observe what is, so in a complete bright and the dark spot, how much is the total intensity that is there?
2i.
It is still 2i only. Initially, before this pattern, what was there? It is still 2i. So you're able to understand the energy is not lost. Rather, what is happening? Redistribution is taking place.
Redistribution.
Okay, that is why we also say there is another way of defining it. This modification in intensity in the region of superposition is called interference. Okay, if somebody asks you what is the definition of interference, what exactly is happening? The thing that you're able to observe is the modification of intensity in the region of superposition. Okay, and some books refer to it as redistribution of intensity. Both are same. Clear, guys? Okay, and one more important point. Can you people answer? So for interference to be observed, what kind of sources are supposed to be used?
Monochromatic.
Monochromatic.
Monochromatic is there. Okay, monochromatic is there. Then I told you one more important point. They should be coherent in nature. Okay, going forward, I'll not use this word again and again, but you need to understand that whenever we are discussing, it is actually about the coherent sources. Okay, so what are coherent sources? Frequency and constant initial phase difference is taking place. Okay, so after this, the concept that we need to know is what is this sustained interference? Sustained means what? Sustain is something is lasting for some amount of time. Okay, if something is lasting for some amount of time, we call it as sustained interference. Are you guys able to understand?
Yes, sir.
So that's what is given. See, the interference pattern in which the positions of the maxima and minima remain fixed is called sustained interference. The meaning of it is, imagine you're doing this experiment, okay, with the same green light. We can call it as a sustained interference if you're able to see the green light here, even when you come after 10 minutes and see it. If you have located a green spot on a particular position of the screen, even if you come after some time, if it is at the same spot, we call it as sustained interference. If it is swapping, like say it is vibrating between these two spots, then it is not called as a sustained interference. So speaking, why we need a sustained interference is because we have certain things to be studied, right? Our interest of study is to find out what is the difference between two bright spots that are happening. What is the difference between, or what is the position difference between two subsequent dark spot? Or I would be interested to know what is the difference between the first dark spot and the fourth dark spot, right? If I have to do all these distances, let's say you take a scale and measure, you can measure these values only when there is a fixed quantity on the screen. Right, something should be fixed. If it is moving, you will not know where to keep the zero of the screen. So that is why we need a sustained interference. Okay, so there are certain conditions for sustained interference case. So what are they? The fundamental condition for sustained interference is that the two sources should be coherent in nature. That is, the initial phase difference between the two interfering waves must remain constant with respect to time. They should not change with respect to time. Second, if you need a better quality, then you need to choose the waves in such a way that the amplitudes of the two waves should be equal or nearly equal. They should not have a very great difference. Okay, it is advisable to take equal amplitude, but sometimes when it is not possible, you can take two sources of nearly equal amplitude. Okay, so this will give good condition or good contrast between bright and dark fringes. So what do you mean by good contrast is, here you're able to differentiate the colors, right? Sometimes what will happen is, if suppose I'm using red light and I have a pattern like this, okay. So red light means there's going to be the bright spot. So what is the difference between the diagram I drew and the one which is already there?
Bright spot is larger area than the dark.
They're almost overlapping, right? You're
Yes,
able to
sir.
see. So in the in the diagram which is given here, there is sufficient. So there is some breathing space that is there. Whereas the one which I drew, it is like the bright and the dark spots are almost overlapping with each other. So sometimes what will happen is you might have a condition like this also. You're able to see. Actually, there is a dark spot. If I zoom, I'm able to see. But if I zoom out, I'm not able to see. I'm zooming out. It will not be that clear. Okay, the clarity is missing, right? So if these clarities are required, what should happen? For this clarity to be obtained only, they are saying that you take both the waves to have nearly same amplitudes. Okay. Next. The next important thing is the two sources should be very closely spaced. Sorry.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir,
Your voice is breaking.
does the bright spot have a color?
Yes, it does.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're audible.
Does the bright spot have a color?
Yes, it does, because you're using a light of a particular wavelength. No, that wavelength is going and falling on the screen. If you use red color, you will have a red color spot. If you use
But that
use
red
green, you're
light
going
should
to have...
be a coherent source.
Yes, I will come to that point. You cannot have two red lights. See, suppose I give you two laser lights, okay? To our eyes, how will it appear? That both will emit the same red color, right? If I give you two laser lights in your hand, let's say that laser light is emitting red color. Okay. To our eyes, how will it appear actually? They will appear to be red color. So what we think is they both are coherent sources. But the same color also, if you use different materials, they are not coherent. That is the reason why I was about to tell that point, but you asked. So I'm telling you. So that is the reason why we used a single source and we tried to split the single source into two sources by using two holes. That is the reason why we are using, because no two different sources are going to be coherent in nature. So for coherence to get generated, you need a single source. Okay. So as time progresses, you will understand, because those points will come. Okay. So the two sources should be very closely spaced, in the sense here. See, I'm erasing everything. Please observe, guys. Since you have understood this, here, though we have only one source, why are we saying two sources? Because of two openings. We have actually broken it into two parts, right? This slit and this slit should be made in such a way that they are very close to each other. Very close to each other in the sense, the distance small d between them should be very small compared to the distance between the slit and the screen. Okay, that is a very, very important condition. D should be very much less than capital D. Are you guys able to understand this point? That is the third point. So the two sources should be very closely spaced. Otherwise, the fringes will be too close for the eyes to resolve. This is the meaning. The other day I told you what is the meaning of resolution, right? Looking at two different things as a completely different entity. They should not be overlapping on each other. That is what is called as resolving. Fourth one, the sources should be monochromatic. I told this to you, right? So it should be monochromatic. Otherwise, there will be overlapping of interference patterns due to the different wavelengths, which will reduce the contrast. If you use white light, you will have 7 colors that are coming out of it. Kritika, you asked the question, right? So if you use a white light, what?
Yes, sir.
By the way, yeah, you only asked, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you use a white light, what will happen is you will be able to see all the 7 colors on the screen. That will happen. Okay. So that is the reason why we are using a monochromatic. Next, the frequencies of the two interfering waves must be equal. This is a very, very important point. And the last point is the sources should be narrow. Now comes the important point, guys. Listen, since two independent sources cannot be coherent, when I say two independent sources, even two lights, okay, if I have two torch lights in my hand which are producing the same green color, though the color is the same, we can say monochromatic because it's green color, but these two sources taken together will not be coherent. That is happening because what is the main reason for electromagnetic wave to get generated? Again, we'll go back to the basic. I've told this already. What is the source of an electromagnetic wave?
An accelerating
Oscillating.
part.
Accelerating charge particles.
Accelerating charge particle. Means the source in this need not produce the same way it is producing the other light. Because for them to be coherent, what are all the conditions to be satisfied? Maybe you can generate the same frequency, but you will fail in the process of generating the constant phase difference. That is the reason why no two independent sources are going to be coherent in nature. This is a very, very important point. Now, I hope you would have understood why we are actually breaking the same source into two different by using a single source and two different slits. Am I clear till this point? If you're clear till this, other things I can take it easily. These are all very important. Is there any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Sir, what is fringes, sir?
Fringes means this one. This is a fringe. This is a fringe. We can call it as a bright fringe and a dark fringe. So I use the word spot, no? Instead of saying spot, we
Yes,
call it
sir.
as fringe. That's it.
Okay,
The
sir.
different synonyms, that's it. Okay. So shall I proceed, guys? So this is all about the theoretical part and the visualization of what exactly is happening. Okay. Now I'm going to get into the derivation part. In the derivation part, I'm going to use all these points to ensure that our mathematical expressions are going to be perfect. Okay. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
So I want everybody to write it down. There's a slightly lengthy one. Okay. Please write it down. Have a book beside you, write it down. If there is any doubt, please stop me. So write down the heading as conditions for constructive and destructive interference. Conditions for constructive and destructive interference. Okay. Now see. So now you have clarity of what is constructive, destructive. Now you know what is interference. Now you know what are the conditions for sustained interference. We are going to take all those things into consideration and we are going to derive certain expressions. Okay. Let the two waves that are superposed upon D y1 is equal to a1 sine omega t and let y2 be a2 sine of omega t plus 5. Okay. So I deliberately made a mistake in the equation. Can you guys correct it?
Omega would be
Sorry, omega 1?
omega 1
Same
and omega 2
frequency.
Yes, very good. So they should have the same frequency. But we told, what about the amplitudes? Is it necessary that they should have the same amplitude?
Nearly same.
They can have a nearly same amplitude. Means their amplitudes can be slightly different. So with respect to amplitudes, there is no mistake. Similarly, if you observe the phase difference between these two waves at any instant is 5. Accepted? So
Yes.
I can say that these two waves are coherent in nature. That is the mathematical way of visualizing it. Okay, everything comes from the concept of sustained interference. So according to principle of superposition, okay, according to the principle of superposition, y will be equal to what, guys? So y will be equal to y1 plus y2. Just give me a minute, no, this is disturbing me. So y is equal to 1 minute. Y is equal to y1 plus y2. Then what is y? Y will be equal to a1 sine omega t plus a2 sine of omega t plus phi. Accepted. So if you observe, the input wave is sine. The input waves are in terms of sine. Now the question is, when I talk about the superposition of these two waves, I don't have a single function of sine. So the question is, how can we actually convert it to a single function of sine? For that, we are going to do some mathematical operations. See, till here only it is physics. After this, we are going to do some mathematical operations. Concentrate, guys. So what I'm going to do is, I will assume a1 to be some a cos theta. Okay, this is an assumption. Similarly, I'm assuming a2 to be a sin theta. Okay. Then y1 will be equal to, can I write it as a1 sine omega t plus, okay, in the place of a1, what can I write?
A cos
theta sine omega t plus a sin theta sine of omega t plus phi. Can I write it like this? So y1 will be equal to a into, this will be sine omega t cos theta plus the sine omega t plus phi. No? Yeah. Sine theta into the sine omega t plus phi. What can we do? We can write it as sine omega t cos phi plus cos omega t sin phi. Right? Just a minute, I think I'm making some mistake. So a1 sine omega t and a2 sine. Okay. Yes. So this is not the place. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Now see. So y is equal to a1 sine omega t plus a2 into, this we can expand and write it as sine omega t cos phi sin a cos b plus cos a sin b. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, I will collect all sine omega t terms. So sine omega t will have the term a1 plus a2 cos phi plus a2 sin phi times cos omega t. Did you guys understand this? A2 sin phi times cos omega t. So this is the value of y, guys. Now what I'm going to do is, if you observe, this whole thing is not a function of sine. So a1 plus a2 cos phi, I will write it as capital A cos theta. Okay. A2 sin phi, I will write it as capital A sin theta. Okay. Take these two things and substitute it here. Then what will you get? Y will be equal to A cos theta sin omega t plus A sin theta cos omega t. Till this step, is there any doubt?
Sir, can you explain from equation 1, sir? Because I disconnected suddenly, sir.
From which one? Yeah. See, I expanded this, that's it. I wrote sine A plus B as sine A cos B plus cos A sin B. Okay. Then I collected the sine omega t terms and cos omega t terms separately. After that, what I assumed is a1 plus a2 cos phi is a cos theta. A2 sin phi I assume to be a sin theta. Then when I take this and substitute it here, the equation gets simplified like this. Okay. So y will be equal to a into sine omega t cos theta. Guys, tell me what is this? Sine omega t cos theta plus cos omega t sin theta. What is this, guys?
Sine of omega t plus theta.
Plus theta.
The sine of omega t plus theta. So the output wave also has been obtained in the form of sine. It will be easy for us to analyze it. Where a is what? So here, if you observe, so if you take a cos theta as a1 plus a2 cos phi. Similarly, a sin theta, we know that it is a2 sin phi. Right? So whenever you have cos theta and sin theta, how will you eliminate theta?
Tan theta.
No, there also you have theta, no? What is the relation between cos and sin? Cos square plus sin square is 1. So square these two and add them. I'll tell you why you're doing. Okay. A square into cos square theta plus sin square theta will be equal to a1 plus a2 cos phi the whole square plus a2 sin phi the whole square. So what is that you're going to get? A1 square plus a2 square cos square phi plus 2a1 a2 cos phi plus a2 square sin square phi. Bracket left hand side it is a square. I hope this is clear. Right? If you take a2 square sin square cos square phi and a2 square sin square phi and add them, you will get a1 square plus a2 square plus 2 times a1 a2 cos phi is going to give you amplitude square. This is a very, very, very important relation. Why I'm saying this is important is because amplitude is directly related to intensity, and intensity is going to give us the mathematical information regarding the bright spot and the dark spot. So please make a note of this. If there is any doubt, ask. If you observe, this relation is something similar to what? It is similar to some other relation which you already know.
Parallelogram law.
Yes, it is similar to parallelogram law. The resultant in parallelogram law is that right? It is similar but not the same. Shall I proceed?
1 minute, sir.
There are some. Yeah, please. Ensure everybody is writing right. So let me know once you're done.
Done, sir.
Yeah. So listen, a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2 cos phi. So since, okay. So the heading is condition for constructive and destructive interference, right? So this is the expression for amplitude. A square is equal to, or I can write A is equal to under root of, like that also. Now question, the very important question to be answered here is, when can I say the interference is constructive? When the amplitude, when the brightness is increasing. When brightness is increasing, intensity is increasing. Intensity is increasing, amplitude is also increasing, right? So we have a mathematical relation for amplitude in our hand. in this mathematical relation, which parameter can be changed? Which parameter is going to decide? I told you an important point. I used the concept of in phase.
Phi.
Phi.
I used the concept of in phase and out of phase. Do you guys remember this? In phase and out of phase.
Same phase.
Right? So for constructive interference to take place, what should be the value of cos phi, guys? Should it be maximum or minimum?
Maximum.
Maximum.
If you observe the expression square plus 2 into product of something into cos, right? Everything is getting added. If that added value has to be maximum, then cos phi has to be maximum. So what is the maximum value of cos phi according to mathematics?
1.
So cos phi is equal to 1. So what should be the value of phi?
0.
0.
So if you write phi is equal to 0 degrees, you are speaking only about one spot. But this diagram is showing how many spots. Do you have only one constructive interference? This one. There are many, right? Many such will keep getting distributed on the screen. So when this is happening, you're not supposed to write the particular solution, rather you need to write the general solution. So what is the general solution of cos phi is equal to 1? So cos phi is equal to 1, the general solution is 2n pi. Right? So an even multiple of pi is going to give us cos phi to be 1. For example, you put n is equal to 0, 1 minute, where n belongs to z. Z is an integer set, right? So you put n is equal to 0, phi is 1, cos phi is 1. You put n is equal to 1, so cos 2 pi is 1, 4 pi 1, 6 pi 1. It keeps going like that, right? Am I clear till this point? So phi is equal to 2n pi, means the phase difference between the waves that are getting interfered or superposed should be an even multiple of pi. That is the condition for constructive. Leave some space here, okay? Leave some space here because I have to explain another concept that will take some time. That I do it in the next class. As of now, let's see only about phase difference. So what can you say about destructive interference, guys? So for destructive interference, cos phi should be least. So what should be on the left hand side?
-1.
Sorry?
-1.
Can you repeat it? Cos phi should be? Very good. So it should be -1 because most common mistake is many of them say it's 0. No. Least value of cos phi is -1. So what is the general solution of cos phi is equal to -1?
2n plus 1 pi.
Yes. It should be odd multiples of pi. Because odd multiples of pi is related to second and the third quadrant. Second and third quadrant cos is negative. Even multiple of pi is related to first and the fourth quadrant where it is positive. Right? Phi is equal to 2n plus 1 into pi where n belongs to z. Or some books write it like this also. 2n minus 1 into pi where here also n belongs to z. I will tell you when to use what. Okay. That will take some time. You need to concentrate for that. Why I told this? Because we told it is odd multiple of pi. We know even number is any number multiplied with 2. Odd number can be even number plus 1 or even number minus 1 also. That is why this is also right, this is also right. Okay, am I clear till this point? But which one to be used and which one is more comfortable for you, we will see when we apply it. So these are the mathematical conditions for what? For constructive and destructive interference to take place. These are the mathematical relations with respect to the phase difference that should exist between both the waves. Any doubt, guys?
No, sir.
So what I want you to do is next class I want you to revise this concept because it's very, very important. Okay, there are maximum 2 more classes. This chapter will be over. After that, trust me, all the chapters are very easy. We can go very fast because you know the basics already. This is a slightly tricky chapter. Maximum 2 more classes because I've cut one topic. Polarization is cut. So I have to explain only interference and diffraction. With that, we are done. Okay. So please practice this again. Next class, I will apply this concept to an experiment, which is called as YDSC, Young's double slit experiment. This is going to be the next topic of discussion. But I want you guys to remind me that I need to explain a concept called as path difference. If without explaining this, I can't go to this. I might forget. So I want somebody to remind me on this path difference. Please make a note of it. Okay. So just wait for a minute, then you can wind up.